My name is Kenneth Bird. My company is Crystal Edge Technology Screens. We are the makers of the Supreme Ambient Light Rejection 12, 15, and the new, actually, the exotic, Supreme Exotic Ambient Light Rejection 15, and also to our Advanced Ambient Light Rejection 17s. Today, we're going to be using two projectors. We're going to be using my Christie LWU420, which is a 1080p projector, 1920 by 1200. 4,300 lumens. I think the contrast on these projectors are somewhere around 3,000, at 3,000 to 1 contrast. Over here, we're going to be using the Panasonic projector, which is a 1920 by 1080p projector. It's a, I think it's a WXGA. I got to check on that. This projector right here has a 16,000 to 1 contrast and at 1,500 lumens. We're going to be doing this demonstration on the Elite white screen. This is not your everyday white screen. This is actually an Elite white screen. It actually came packaged with one of my frames that was missing some parts out of it. So I said, you know what? They don't want it back. They never asked for it back. I tried to give it back and it became a headache, and you just keep it. So I figure I'm going to use it in these demonstrations now. All right. So usually when people buy, and if I notice when I go on Amazon, you're not going to actually bump into a Dark Star 9 or Black Diamond or any of the high-end screens. You're going to bump into usually the mid and bottom dollar screens, which you're going to probably bump into a if they have it on selection. If you can go in there and select it. Sometimes they don't have it, sometimes they do. They may have a little selection sheet that'll pop up and say, hey, look, you can have a Cinema Gray 5D or a Cinema Gray or whatever. They may have a selection there. Usually most you have to go to the dealership or find a local dealership that basically will sell those particular screens. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a dark contrast demonstration, New York City skyline. This is a very, very dark demonstration. I'll put a link at the bottom so you can actually see how dark the demonstration is, how dark the video is. And just to show you, if I have a projector that has a 16,000 to 1 contrast, you're never going to see it. Not only that, I've been saying this before for the longest time, that a white sheet of paper can do the exact same thing as a white screen. And in the middle of my screen is a white sheet of paper. And that's an everyday piece of printing paper. Actually, it has a little bit more tint contrast. It's white paper, everyday white paper. It has a little bit more contrast in the screen if you look at it right here. But I've talked to customers. I talk to customers all the time, and the first thing they'll say is, yeah, I got this white screen, and the contrast levels are really good. We're not saying really good, they're fair. They'll say that the colors are still good and all that. I'm like, no. You're missing so much on your projector. Okay, put it this way. When people think white levels are important, they're actually not. Tell me the last time you went on a projector and they started bragging about the white levels. Oh, this projector has like 3,000 to 1 white level or 4,000 to 1. No, all they talk about is contrast when it comes to projectors. You will pay more for the rating on the projector, whether it has 16, 20, 30, or 50,000 or 1,000,000 to 1 contrast. They never say, oh, the white levels are this, that, and the other. White levels are going to come up on the screen regardless, unless the screen is so dark you can't pick it up. So this is what you get. And now over here, we're going to have a bunch of sample sheets. And as I said before, a lot of the big companies, when they test out their products, they always test their products against a white screen. And I always say that's not a good thing you want to do, because number one, if you're basing your technology on a white screen, the problem you're going to have is your images are going to have some problems if you're going against another gray screen. Okay, so we're going to see it's going to pull up the city skyline much better. We're going to start off with Parallax Pure 0.8. I saw this in a demonstration on YouTube. When I was looking at it, I literally thought the screen was jet black. That's what I thought was jet black. But they're not jet black. They're pretty much dark gray. I know for a fact that diamonds are basically gunmetal. For a fact, they're gunmetal. All right, so we're going to put this right here. Make sure I get behind the screen and press down on this, because I want to make sure this, oops, we're not sticking already. Here we go. Right here and here. And you'll see a bit of a big difference right there on their screen. But the problem they have with their screen is they have the narrow viewing cone effect. Now reviewing cones means the screen becomes dark if you turn to the side. Stand here, stand here, stand here, stand here. There you go. Now reviewing cone effect. Usually most reflective surfaces have those problems. Usually they'll tell you that you have to inline the projector, which means your projector would have to be mounted to the ceiling and you would have to inline it with the screen. It may cut down on some of the viewing cone problems, but it's still going to be there. And that's where you get into realigning projectors. All right, so let's go grab ourselves another dark screen. We're going to go with the DMP Supernova. Right there, DMP Supernova. I have both the Infinity and Blade. Their technology is take the white paper off. Sure, the paper is white. Does the same thing. I can bed sheets, all that does the same thing. So we'll take this one, put this here. DMP Supernova. Now, this one I know would cost you, this up here better, hand through here. This one would cost you around, that'll cost you $5,000. I know these will cost you $5,000. We can't use none of these with ultra short throws or short throw projectors because they had that reflective surface and they do have a problem picking up. So now, that's the improvement that you'll get. Darkstar 9 does pick up a better contrast level. All right, $5,000 we just hit. Now let's go over to the Darkstar 9. As I explained to you before, that the darker the screen, the more expensive it becomes due to the fact that the surface is darker. When you get these screens like the Cinema Gray 5D, you think, oh, I'm getting an amazing. No, you're not getting your contrast level is good. It's just not where these screens. These are the elitists. These are the top screens. These screens will cost you thousands of dollars. Darkstar 9 right here. Just run it back of the screen right there. There we go. So now we have our Darkstar 9, which is producing a much brighter and darker image. Darkstar 9 is $3,000 for 100-inch. And like I said, these screens are not ultra short throw compatible. You stick them up against an ultra short throw, they all go black. They're not designed for it. They have special screens that they make for their screens that do they work with ultra short throws, but you're not going to pay $3,000 for this screen or $5,000 here, $5,000 here, and then turn around and get an ultra short throw compatible. It's going to cost you the same price. So you're going to pay more for that. You're going to pay much more for that. And if you want it in 100, mind you, these are all 100 inches. That's it. Once you reach 120, now you're talking about maybe somewhere between maybe 8, maybe 9, maybe 10 grand. I do know that the DMP Supernova at the time when I did get, and they do tell you from the door that this will not work with ultra short throw. They're not going to sell you something that's not going to be compatible with it. I know when I got the brochure for DMP Supernova, and the brochure it clearly states it does not work with ultra short throw projectors. That's why we don't use it when we bring out ultra short throw projectors. It's going to be unfair to the screen. I do know for a fact that if you do want 180 inches of that screen right there, that's between $17,000 and $18,000. I mean, you got to consider the fact if you're already going to pay $5,000 to $3,000 for a 100-inch, what do you think it's going to cost you if you want a 180-inch, even 150, even 130? It's not going to be the same price. You're going to pay a whole lot more. That material that they use to make this stuff is very expensive. All right, let's go with next. We're going to use the Gray Cinema 5D because see, I had one customer who bought this screen. He says, well, it looks great. It does look great. I'm not saying it doesn't look great. It does look great. But the performance level, you're still not going to get that true contrast level. All right, so we'll put that one right here. This is the Cinema Gray 5D. That's a cheaper screen. That's going to cost you somewhere in the range of maybe $1,300, $1,400. So let's come over here for a minute so we can get a better shot at this. So this is how they test their screens. They test their screens against white screens. All right, let's go grab ourselves more lighter screen here. People that have screens that are around that color. Let's see what we get. Put this one right here. Sorry about that. I was trying to grab some sticky. Put it right here. Okie doke. So there you are. And of course we have the large white screen behind it. For those of you that are still using white screens or maybe just bought a white screen and you feel that you're picking up contrast. It's supposed to be. I can figure out exactly what we just did with the remote control that fast that quick. I just set it on this. Oh wait, no. It's inside my projector. Let's see if this is it by any chance. Nope, probably left in the kitchen. I was grabbing sample sheets. I'll be back. One of my worst problems in life is setting down my remote control and literally losing it. That's that quick. Oh, here, it's right here in the chair. Ugh. Does not pay to have half of yourself in your theater room black because everything just blends in if you lay it there. All right. So there's the New York City skyline. Make sure we got the right remote control for this one. No, this is the one for the theater room in here. Good gracious. Sorry about that, people. Something that I do. Something that I do. That's the remote control for this room. This is the remote control for this room, right here. Sand Hills that I do remote control that fast. This area. All right, good thing the video's on a loop. This will give me a chance to track down the remote control wherever God sakes I left it at in the house somewhere. Wasn't even going that far. House is not that big. And yet, I keep losing the remote control. Great, my life. You know what I mean? I set it up on something high or someplace weird. Just had it in my hand, literally. This is not the one for it. Nope, we'll just let that play. And you'll get a chance to see all that what you need to see until Mr. Bird can figure out exactly where in tarnations he just set a remote control that fast, that quick, and lost it. In my house, it's not that big. All right, let me go sit and check the tea room. I might have taken it upstairs with me. That's got to be a new record, an all-time new record. That I lost the remote control that fast. Oh, Pete, what happens? You know, that's one of my signatures. Oh, great. Look where it's at. It's right there. You're looking right at it. Yeah. That's weird. Told you I set things in the weirdest places. I'd have never saw that. Told you I left the remote control in a friend's car one time. I was carrying boxes to her car. Came in and put the boxes down, set the remote control on the bed in the car. She took off, literally forgot it was on the car. She called me and said, "Yo, is this yours?" I was like, "Yep." All right, Starfield demonstration. I told you, if you do a Starfield demonstration, it will show whether or not if your screen can pull contrast. This is why we request it. This is why I constantly request a Starfield demonstration. You're seeing nothing but straight black levels and white specks of light. If your screen can do contrast and you hit it with a Starfield demonstration, it will show which one of these screens are pulling the heaviest contrast. the Dark Star 9 is pulling it. That's why we asked for a Starfield demonstration, because a Starfield demonstration shows nothing but black in the background with little specks of light through it. Now, when I showed you the city demonstration, that's more kind of a camouflage black, because there's all different spectrums of light and all that. The black levels are on different levels and different shades. But on the Starfield demonstration, it's just pure, straight black. Either your screen's going to pull up or it's not. So winner in this group would definitely be Dark Star 9. And it's the cheapest screen. It's $3,000. I don't know, it's still a lot of money, but it's $3,000. That right there is the Cinema Grade 5D, which is actually a part of an Elite screen. And then on the far end over here, which you have the Cinema Grade, that's the mid. So keep in mind, the big screen you're seeing right here is an Elite screen. So this would be cheap. You would probably, for 100-inch, you'd probably pay about maybe about $300 for it, maybe a little less than that. And then when you get to this one right here, which is a little bit darker, you're talking about $800 to $900. And then when you get to the Cinema Gray, which is actually producing a much better contrast level than that screen, $1,300, $1,400. And then when you want to go to the darker screen, $3,000. You pay more money for the shade of the screen, and the shade of the screen depends on the performance, because color levels are going to pop better, contrast is going to be much better. And even if your projector has a 16,000 to 1 contrast, you're going to see it much better on the darker screen than you're going to see it on any one of these screens. And this one isn't so bad, but you have to stand, like I said, some of these screens have the narrow viewing cone effect. So if we turn to the side, you start to see it. There you go. It's called the narrow viewing cone effect. Now, some people may argue, if I go to ABS Forums and did this demonstration, they would argue that, oh, but your projector is not professionally mounted to the ceiling. It has to be realigned with the screen and all that other nonsense. And you have to have so much light per square inch in the environment. You have too much ambient light. You should have it in a controlled environment. If I'm spending $5,000 for a projection screen, I should be able to set it anywhere I want with no problem whatsoever. That's a lot of money for a screen. Even $3,000 is a lot of money for a screen. I should be able to put it anywhere I want. So you mean to tell me if I buy this particular screen, I have to go through that, come in, mount it to the ceiling, I have to realign the projector with the screen to make sure it fits right. Check out a projector realignment with a screen. And then you have to go through calibrating. Here you go, that's going to calibrate. That's definitely going to happen. All right, so let's do some color patterns. It's interesting not seeing my technology up there, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? My technology is not even up there yet. Let's go with the color red. Let's see what we're all actually getting. If you got a white screen, it's not going to be pretty. I'm just going to tell you that from the door. With a white screen, and I don't even know why they still sell white screens, because people buy a white screen. Some people don't know. They'll go on Amazon and see a nice white screen. You know, all the screens, majority all the screens, well, actually, majority, yeah, all of them are white screens. So go buy the white screen and think they're going to get the same color. The sad thing about when you see advertising for a white screen, you see this Photoshop pretty image of these bright, beautiful, vivid colors. This family sitting around it, nice setting, nice environment. Some of them are outside, and you look at this vivid picture. Now, if you don't know much about projectors, you literally are going to think you're going to get that image off your projector. And then when you get home and you set it up and it looks like crap, then the first thing you think is the projector's fault. Now you start looking around like, maybe I got to get 4K, maybe I got to get higher lumens and all this. Nah, you're still going to come down to almost similar to the same thing. You see how I washed it out? So that color is supposed to pop. It's supposed to look like red. We've all gone to kindergarten, pretty much. We know colors, right? You know what the color red looks like. If you got a red car, look outside with your car and look at that right there. Does that look like it's red to you? Maybe we got too much light in the environment. So we bring the lights down. White screen still having some problems, but at least these screens are showing a somewhat better red. So that means you're definitely going to have to be in the dark because you can't have the lights on because that screen will wash out. And somebody's saying, well, your projector is only 1500 lumens. It should still pull up. It should still see the red. Okay, color blue. Let's go over to blue. Okay, so the Dark Star 9 is picking up a much better blue. All right, let's do something interesting here. White screensaver. Now, remember when I told you that the only screen that has the ability to pull up a super white level would be a white screen. It's something that shouldn't have to be explained. This is basic common sense. A white screen is just going to basically pull up higher white labels. And then usually on our end, the technology we make the black screen paint that pulls up the same white levels. Not equal to a white screen, never equal to a white screen. I've said that many times. It will never be equal to a white screen. It will never be equal to a light gray screen, but the white levels are high enough where it's not going to disrupt your picture quality. But I love it when people go back and they say, well, you know, with black screen paints, the white levels aren't going to be that high. Let me explain something to you about Common Sense 101. Any screen that is slightly darker than a white screen, the white levels are not going to be the same as a white screen. And the white levels are going to basically be a little lower, which means it's a give and take process, which means if you raise the white levels on one section of it, that means the black levels will drop. And if you raise it high on the black levels, the white levels will drop. It's basic common sense. So some people try to go out there and point that toward our technology and say, this is what it does. Every screen does that. That's slightly darker than a white screen. Every screen. So for people to point out and say, oh, but they're the only ones. No, Sparky, we're not the only one. Every screen does it. If your screen is slightly darker than a white screen, it will come out darker when you produce a white level. As in, if you're looking at the Cinema Grade 5D, which is actually the lightest screen we have up here. Now, for example, on that one, they never kind of clear this up with you. They don't tell you the whole thing. They tell you what they want you to see, but they don't tell you the whole thing. And this is with anybody testing screen paints. You have to do the test properly, not halfway. So all screens do this. Not just black screen paints, all screens do this. Even gray screen paints, they all do the same thing. They cannot produce a white level next to a white screen. Now, the benefits of black technology is that we can pull the white levels high enough where you can see our images crystal clear and the white levels don't suffer. But we can pull a contrast level that none of these screens could even begin to hold a candle to. This technology right here, that technology right there, can pull a contrast level even if a projector has no contrast capability whatsoever, where these screens will need it. All right, so let's take the lighter screens, what's the lightest one? We need a silver. The lightest silver screen I have is a Seymour AV 1.3. That is the lightest screen I have. Right there. When I see people doing those demonstrations to look how dark the image comes up. Well, first things first, we know it's been tampered with. Second, on top of that, to add to this, that we know that for a fact that there is no screen, no matter high professional it may be certified, and these are certified screens, you're not going to pull a white level that high. Impossible. All right, Seymour AV 1.3, which is a silver screen. I'll put that right here. This is a silver screen. This is actually one of the brightest screens I have next to a white screen. This is actually a pretty good screen. I like Seymour AV 1.3. To hear me rant about those quite a few times. I rant, but actually rave about those screens. That's the Seymour AV 1.3. It's a very, very high high silver screen. That can't even pull white levels as high as a white screen. That's not going to pull levels as high as a white screen. You see how light this screen is? This is actually lighter than that one right there. That can't pull white levels as high as a white screen. Look how dark the Dark Star 9 comes out on next to a white surface. Same thing, gray Cinema 5D next to a white surface. The parallax, I'm saying correctly. If I say it wrong, I do apologize. Look how dark that comes up. Now, let's check out the narrow viewing cone. As I explained to you before, you'll see this faster on a white surface than you see on any other surface. We're away from the projector there. We're going to start making our descent to turn to the side. This is not to put any of their technology down in any way. It's to show you exactly what sometimes, I don't know if they show you this or not, I don't know. This is to show you what I see on my end. So I can turn to the side. Every time you see me take my camera, put it to the side like this, it's to show that my screen can pull an angle. I do this outside all the time. Some screens have a problem pulling up an angle gain because they have a narrow viewing cone effect, which means if you turn from left to right, here or there, the screen becomes dark. It only becomes bright if you're standing in the center of it. See, it's a different thing that when you see people throwing sample sheets against the screen, you have to understand the technology behind the technology you're displaying. You can't just sit there and just throw a sample sheet and go, oh, look, it's the same thing. No, you can't do that. You have to show why it's doing that. Because if I'm showing you a demonstration, if I turn to the side, it shows that my technology can pull up a 190-degree viewing angle. I do this outside all the time, showing the screen can pull the angle up outside with no problem. Some screens have the ability to pull up an amazing angle gain, and some can't. Now, certain screens, usually to have that kind of reflective surface, don't usually work too well with short throw and ultra short throw projectors. So what some people will do is when they do their demonstrations, they will, knowing this, they will use an ultra short throw to make their screen look like it's brighter. And you shouldn't do that because it clearly states that these screens already stated we don't do ultra short throw on these screens. So ultra short throw should never be, the screen should never be involved in ultra short throw. When you see me do demonstrations, the first thing I'll say on camera is, nope, can't use this one, can't use that one, because they're not ultra short throw compatible, and that would be cheating. So since we're using a long throw lumen projector right here, that should work out just fine because all these screens work with long throws. All right, so we got the white levels. Let's continue on with our colors. Let's go over to green. Green usually does well. These screens actually do really well when it comes to green. Green screensaver. I'm curious to see gray, to tell you the truth. See, they do pretty good when it comes to green. They do very good when it comes to green. Not too much of a problem. The Cinema Gray right there is having some problems picking up green here. All the rest of these did pretty good to a certain degree. As I told you before, that reflective material, I have to be right up here. I should be here. This is where I should be. There we go. Because this screen has a reflective surface. This has a reflective surface. So you have to be standing right directly in front of that screen. Like I said, if I just turn a little bit to the side, there you go. You'll notice that when you watch demonstrations, most people, when they watch a demonstration of a screen, they're so busy concentrating on the picture quality. You're not looking at the real, the flags in the room. You don't see that. I see that. Anybody who's been doing projection theater for a long time will not look at the screen. They'll glance at the screen, but they'll be staring at the environment. They'll look at the background of the walls, the corners. They'll see how the camera moves back and forth. Are they showing angle gain? Because if they never do this and their demonstration like this, then that tells me right from the door that that screen may have an issue pulling an angle. That's what you're telling me in the video. If I'm just seeing a hit-on demonstration of you just showing off the screen in this direction when I'm watching your video, and I never see you take that camera and move around that screen, that tells me that your screen may have a problem with an angle gain. And if you notice, like I said in any of the demonstrations, they don't do projector swap outs. I had about 3 conversations yesterday with a few customers saying, yeah, you do projector swap outs, which means in the middle of the demonstration, I will pull the projector out and put something in that's way lower than the projector that I'm using, or pull the projector back, or do different forms of different short throws and back and forth and long, all the same, some demonstrations, I'll swap them out back and forth. You're supposed to see that because they can't do that because maybe the screen might not be ultra short throw compatible. Like I said, rehearse environment. The environment's rehearsed. It's using, they're not using this kind of lighting. It's too much light. It's too far close to the screen. They're going to use, most of it's going to be condensed lighting, because condensed lighting can be controlled with switches and stuff. They can dim the lights, they can take the lights, they can shift them back and forth, they can push the lights away from the screen to give the illusion that they're actually pushing off light. The first thing I look at when you're using condensed lighting is I look at your floor, because where your floor is at, that's where your light is landing. So if I see the light actually hitting away from the screen, I know that you went in and you pushed your lights out a little bit so the light can come down this way to give it the illusion that the screen is well lit. When if you actually step behind the screen, you will notice that none of the light is touching the screen. It's actually going downward and hitting the floor. Now watch all that, everything. Even with the hobbyists, I watch everything in your video demonstrations. Look at the corner of your walls. I see how many objects I can see and I can make out in your environment. And the one thing I watch is contrast, because screens that don't do well with contrast will not display any contrast demonstrations. And one of the demonstrations they will stay far away from is the star field. If your screen can't pull contrast, Starfield will let it be seen. That's why I like doing Starfield demonstrations outside. All right, we got the green. Let's go to orange. Orange screensaver. Now you buy one of these. Say if you buy one of these screens and you, oh yeah, another thing I had another good conversation, not to jump off topic here. When you're watching the demonstrations with some of these high-end companies, big companies, you do know that if they're using a $50,000, $60,000, $30,000, $5,000 projector, it's not going to look the same when you get home with your screen. There is no way in the world on God's green earth possible, like when Screen Innovation was doing the demonstration of the Sony ultra short projector, the one that looks like a giant coffee table. If you haven't seen that thing, it's quite huge. This thing is 10,000 lumens. 10,000 lumens. I think there were 4K. I don't know if they're 4K or 8K. It might be 8K now, but they were 4K at the time. And that is a laser projector, probably sitting about that close from your screen. You're talking about that close from your screen at 10,000 lumens. It's a lot of power. So consider the fact that when you're looking at that image, you're like, wow, that looks freaking amazing. Yeah, of course, you got 10,000 lumens sitting less than a foot away from your screen. And ultra short though at that, and it's a laser 4K. All right, so you're thinking all that's coming from that right now. Chances are you come home, you're not going to have a $50,000 projector waiting in your living room. You're probably going to be like the rest of us, and you'll probably have a projector maybe for $3,000. Some people don't even want to spend that. There is no way in the world on God's green earth that you're going to be able to pull off the same image as that $50,000 projector than your 1080p projector sitting in your living room. And if you got a 4K, it's not going to come close to that thing. No. You're not going to come close to that. So at this particular point, you will realize that the projector just did all the work. That's what you realize. A lot of people don't understand that. When people look at that screen, the only thing they got you zoned in, they don't talk about the projector much. They got you zoned in. They'll tell you the specifications of the projector, but they'll point it mostly towards the screen. And all you're thinking about, wow, the screen looks that good, that amazing. So it does have some abilities to look good. It does. But not on the level of what that projector can do, because the projector at that point does all the work. So when you get home and you set up your screen, you're wondering, how come it don't look the same as I seen the demonstration? Because you don't have a $50,000 projector in your living room. That's why. And they'll tell you that you have to calibrate. You can calibrate till the cows come home. You will never come close to that $50,000 performance of that projector. It's not going to happen. All right, we're in orange now. Does that all look like orange to you? I don't know. Color purple. Oh, wait a minute. Cancel. Purple screensaver. If you say the color purple, it would literally bring up the movie The Color Purple. So you have to specify exactly what you want. All right, so now we're going to bring up the color purple. So they've done a lot better than the white screen right there. This is the reason why in my demonstrations I use cheap 720p projectors. And I used to get ridiculed for that. And everybody now is saying, oh, look, my screen looks amazing on 720p. Yeah, you're doing something we were doing years ago. Years ago we were doing that. showing off on 720p's. I had people who used to gripe with me talking about, oh, once you get a 1080p, once you get a 4K. What's the point of me going out and spending a high-end, expensive projector if my customers can't relate to it? If I get me a $10,000, $20,000 projector and my customers can't relate to that, I don't think anybody can relate to that. Heck, I can't even relate to that. You're gonna come in and say, wow, look how beautiful the image looks, and I'm using this projector right here, and it cost me $5,000. Now, if I come in here and I get a beautiful, beautiful image from a projector that will cost my customers $130 or $170 or even $59, everybody can relate to that. Because it just tells them that you don't have to spend all this money for a projector just to get a beautiful image on your screen. That's protocol. They tell you that you need these projectors to basically add a projector in there that is going to make up for what the screen will be lacking. Because right now, we're using a projector, I think on the market at one point was around, I don't know, 1,500, maybe $2,000. Now, we'll swap it out for the Chrissy over here, which is 4,300 lumens, one of the 1,500 lumens. But this one over here has a 3,001 contrast. This has a 15,000 or 16,001 contrast. This is 1920 by 1080p. This is 1920 by 1200. This is a much more advanced projector than this one right here. Even this one, this has a higher contrast level, but it doesn't make a difference if your contrast level is high because, like I said, you can't see it anyway. Sony 4K demonstrations. See? Doesn't make a difference. Well, you can't see it anyway. What you're seeing is you're not seeing black, you're seeing actual shades of gray. That's what you're getting. Somebody say, well, the lights are out, the contrast level looks pretty good on my. No, you're not seeing black, you're seeing shades of gray. This is a contrast demonstration designed to show black levels, not gray levels, not dark gray levels, black levels. When you watch OLED demonstrations are jet black in the background because it's displayed what the TV can do. It shows off how dark the image can come off. It's not supposed to come up gray. It's supposed to come up black. Now, even though technology we develop does produce amazing black levels, and they do. You look at that dark silver can pull a contrast level black enough that you set next side by side to one of our black screens. You couldn't tell one from the other unless you laid one on top of each other. But the 12s and the Luminous are the only two screens that produce 100% contrast. And up there somewhere we have, let me hold on for a minute. We have a Seymour AV 1.3 right there. You didn't see it, did you? Yeah, that's the Seymour AV 1.3 right next to a white screen. You have to be in line. You have to be in front, but you have to be in line with it. In order with the certain screens. If you're not, it's going to come dark. Let's continue. Okay, so let's come out of here for a minute and let's go over to this demonstration with the beautiful flowers. Now, we already showed you what the reds look like. Here we are, showing the reds. And it's mine, lights out. What happens when the lights come on? Which one of these screens will actually show a better image with the lights on? Yeah, keep in mind that, my customers, when they buy our technology, The only time they're going to be sitting in the dark is still watching a movie. Now the way projection screens are perceived now is people using them for everyday use. What do you think the ultra short throws are designed for? You don't see an ultra short. When's the last time you've seen an ultra short throw sitting in a dedicated movie theater setup? You don't. You see long throws designed for those. Extended long throws if you have a professional setup. So ultra short throws are pretty much like the set top TV. Set it up close to your screen. You see most of those in living rooms and lounges and bedrooms and stuff like that. Places are going to have a lot of light. People are in there watching TV and sports and all that. They're not turning out the lights to be in the dark. They use those projectors. This would be used in an everyday environment. All right, let's go back to Starfield screensaver. Oh, anyway, these will work out and make a difference. 123.4. Dark Star Signs, anyone can pull it up. Or, now, even though we know out of all the screens we have up here, the Dark Star 9 is the only one pulling up a proper contrast level, as you can see, $3,000. So we will take these off, leave the remaining screen that pulled the highest contrast level, which will be the Dark Star 9. Take all these off. Dark Star 9 right here in the center, because it's the only one that had the darkest contrast level using a projector. There. I have a little crooked, I do apologize. Let me straighten it up a little bit. So all these screens, the Dark Star 9 is the only one that can clearly say it can pull a contrast level. Now the question is the contrast level true black? Is that a real 100% black contrast level? Because it is, if that screen is pulling a 100% black contrast level, you would be able to lay that next to a black screen and it should blend into the black screen. I know you think you're seeing black. You're actually not seeing black, you're seeing gray. That's gray, not black. Take our lights out here. So that white light pushing off the white screen. There's a Dark Star 9 absorbing. Now we'll take our Dark Star 9. We'll stick it right here on the side. All right. I'm trying to get this straight. I don't want this to be crooked. Right there. And this is also too a big wake-up call for those of you who have white projection screens and you think you're getting contrast levels because your projector has a high contrast capability. No, you're, like I said, waste of money, not even seeing it, not even there, not even the ballpark, doesn't exist. I don't care if you have a 20,000 to 1, I don't care if you have a 50,000 to 1, I don't care if you got 1,000,000 to 1. You're not seeing contrast at all. You will never ever be able to pick it up. It's an option you pay for that you will never ever use. What it is. It's truthfully, that's what it comes down to. Now, let's take, remember where my tabs are at on my black screen. I put tabs on it, so this way I don't have to worry about the screen trying to come down and murder me. This is right here is our Luminous Black technology. Straight on, which is too crooked. There we go. That's our Luminous Black technology, designed to produce high white levels and deep black contrast levels. It is actually, like I said, 4 times darker than 12. Looks like you're staring off into an abyss, isn't it? So you can just walk right into the screen. Now let's put this next to on our screen. And that's what our technology does to a screen that basically a dark gray screen. That screen is so dark that literally any screen that lays up against it is going to actually turn gray. I mean, really light gray. Let's see what happens if we turn the lights on. Lights on. Technology still remains black. Why do you think people spend so much money for OLED technology? They spend a lot of money for OLED technology. You know, I don't know what era some of you guys grew up at. When I grew up in an era where TV tubes used to be light gray, round, light gray TV tubes. You had to go in there and adjust your contrast and different colors and all that. Yeah, when it used to be light gray and they were round, it had the bowl that stuck out the front, weighed about an arm and a leg, and it had the tubes in the back, and tubes firing like, it sounded like they were cranking up. Yeah, and then I got a chance to watch the era of those screens turn into, what was it after those screens? Ah, my goodness. Oh yeah, that's when they came up with the Sony Vegas. You ever lived on those things before? You had to literally go green to lift on those TVs. They were extremely heavy. Those are the ones that have more of a flatter monitor, and it was sharp around the edges, real sharp. It was flat, but it was still heavy. Real big back to them. That's when they had the Mitsubishi Super Tube. No. They had the darker screen, but it still had the rounded corner, because I remember they had the Mitsubishi Super Tube, and they used to have these smart TVs by Circuit City. I had that right, the smart TVs. I forgot what the TVs were called. And then they came out, Sony Vega came out with that flat screen that was super flat. They had the corners on it. And then later on, you had screens getting thinner and thinner and thinner. As a matter of fact, the first commercial I saw on a thin screen TV was Magnavox, if I'm saying that correctly. They had this commercial where they had this couple who lived in this really thin home, like a billboard, a home like a billboard. It went through staircase. You can see if I can track down the commercial. And it was like they had this narrow home. And they just had a sofa, and they had a wall, and they had their kitchen and stuff in the background. And you saw them when they bought the TV in, they bought it in and laid it flat to the wall. That was one of the commercials I saw by Magnavox. I seen the screens getting thinner and thinner and thinner. Now they make them like wallpaper. But if you notice, as the TV started to progress, the tube got darker and darker and darker and darker. And now OLED, which came with that black technology, now it's integrated with everything. Sony, just about every company wants those dark tubes. Or, not sorry, but LEDs. You know why? Because it's all about contrast. At the end of the day, it comes down to contrast. Not how high the white levels are, the contrast. Because contrast makes the color pop. It makes the image look more realistic. It adds more depth to the image. There you go. That's why Vegas costs so much, not Vegas, but the LGs and those OLED technology costs so much money. All right. Contrast. Let's see if we can change the outcome. Most people, what they do is they'll go out and they'll get a more high-powered projector. All right, so we get a high-powered projector. They think that if I get a higher-powered projector, I'll be able to produce better color and better contrast. But they figure that the ambient light in the environment is probably disrupting their picture, and it's causing the picture to fade out and wash out. So if I get myself a much more high-powered projector with a more power lumen count, that means I'll be able to cut through more ambient light in the environment. The screen will be able to produce much better colors, because maybe the environment and the light in the environment is causing my image to fade and wash out. People think that one too. That has nothing to do with it. You're going to be hitting a 4300 lumen projector against a white screen. You're going to get something what they call snow blind. You're going to be reflecting way too much white light. The screen doesn't have, so you're dealing with black screens absorb light, where white screens are reflected everywhere in the environment. You know, before I got into this field, people say, how do you know all this stuff? Do you know I had to do like tons of research? When I bought my first projector, I did tons of research. Not only did I want to know about how the projector worked, but how it affected, how the environment affected the projector. So that's how I knew about a lot of this stuff. I'm doing a lot of testing, a lot of testing, a lot of testing. Oh, look, Mr. Sun's coming in. He's going to invade my screen, Mr. Sun. Maybe it's pretty bright in here. All right, put this over here. If it's God's will that I can have this projector, and I'm actually, not even sold on eBay. I'm actually talking to somebody off of eBay to get a particular projector that I need for work for next summer. This projector is around $9 grand. They're not cheap. They're extremely expensive. Now, the reason why I'm buying this projector is because this is not going to be used inside my home. Man, if I use one of these things inside my home, you know how crazy my picture quality would even look under this technology? It's not even freaking 1080p, and that projector is $9,000. It's $9 grand because the projector itself is going to cost me around $5 grand, and that's no lens at all. These are professional projectors. No lens comes with it. You have to buy the lens separately. My lens by itself cost me $4,000. If my filter blows out on that projector, $250 to replace my filter. Lamps on that projector probably cost me $1 grand. The reason why I'm buying this projector because I need this projector for work outside, because the companies I'm going to be dealing with are not going to be using the Chrissy projector I have over here or none of them. No, they're using high-end venue projectors. In order to relate to them on the technology that I'm using, I am going to be using one of those projectors outside. Now, keep in mind, you know me already. When it comes to doing demonstrations, I'm always going to drop below the level of those particular projectors and use the low-end projectors because I have to relate to my customers too when I do my demonstrations outside. So I'm still going to have the 1,000 projectors and stuff like that. Just that particular piece of equipment, it's going to be for company use only, for showing off companies exactly the magnitude of power that we're using, and on top of that, the image that we can pull up. Because even with their projectors at 7 and 10, they still can't pull up an image because they're using a white screen. So that's what that's for. But like I said, if it's God's will that I can have it, He'll bless me to be able to have it. I already have the money set aside for it. Like I said, if I want expensive projector, I can buy one. Very, very expensive projector, I can buy one. I choose not to because I don't have to. That's why in my living room, I have a $59 projector. I am so proud of that projector right there that I paid $59 for a projector that I can use in a fully lit environment, and it looks beautiful because my screen does all the work. It's only 720p. Happy about that. Don't need expensive. If I want an expensive projector, I can spend that kind of money. It's only buy a projector like that if it's used for work, and that's the only thing you'll see it used for. I may bring it in here and maybe hit one of the screens with it, but I doubt I want to walk in front of 6,500 lumens. I don't want to walk in front of that. You end up looking like Raiden at the end of the day. That's a lot of power to walk into, and on top of that, it's short throw. That's why that lens cost me that much money, because it's short throw. I told you, when you start talking about venue projectors, the ones you can disconnect and pull out the lens, when you talk about their short throw lens, they're not cheap. And that's the cheapest I could get it, because I've seen them worse than that. Way worse than that. Ugh. Way worse than that. I've seen them for 10 grand, $20,000. Yeah, those short throw lenses for those projectors are freaking, whew, they're expensive. Crazy expensive. But I told you I've been wanting to get one for a while. I did buy Chrissy, I think it was an LW 700. And when the projector got here, it had some major problems with it. And the reason why I didn't ask for my money back, because that money went to a charity group. I just let them keep the money. It's still sitting in the Roadhouse case downstairs. I got a friend of mine. He said he's going to work on it, get it up and going. And that's the reason why I didn't ask for my money back. And usually shipping, when you're talking about a projector like that, shipping's going to cost you some money. That one came in a road case, so that shipping cost me like $300 to get that shipped in here. But like I said, went to charity. Somebody else needed it. The money was needed for something better than that. I can always get the projector repaired. I'm not worried about that. It might take some time. It may take me a few dollars more, but you know, at least I know the money went to help somebody out that needs it more than I do. So yeah, it's worth it. I don't look at it that way as people say, well, you know, maybe they took you. I don't really think of it that way. Only thing I care about is that hopefully, you know, they did use the money, and I pray they did, to help somebody else out. That's always important. All right, now we're at 4,300 lumens. Much brighter than the other one, isn't it? This is a Chrissy projector. I love Chrissy's. Love Chrissy projectors. Love them. I'm a big fan of Chrissy projectors. I love Chrissy's so much. And how I found out about Chrissy projectors, I found it from a customer of mine. Told me about the Chrissy's. He had one. He was ramping about this projector, like, yeah, you know, Chrissy's have amazing projectors. And I was like, oh man, like I wanted one. I went online to look how much they cost, and they were so, at the particular time when I was trying to get one, they were so freaking expensive. Now with Chrissy's, you don't have to use a lot of power. This projector is in eco mode, believe it or not. These things are crazy powerful. They're in eco mode. I'll show you. Now on a Chrissy projector, Whisper is eco mode. Let me see. Oh, man, I gotta move to the side. I'll show you my brightness on my projector. See how low my settings are? They don't have to be that high. And the one thing I love about the Chrissy is that the heat disperses from the front out here, not from the side or here and here. So you don't have to worry about if you got it boxed into something. Like mine sits up in the back, up top, the big one. I got the 505, and I don't have to worry about the heat pushing back into the projector and like that. It just comes out to the front. All right, so we got that going. Let's grab something to throw on this real quick. Let me see. Okay, come out of this, and let's bring up. Now we got a lot more power. Look at that, a lot more power, much more brighter, well, brighter screen, but still it's a white screen, so yeah. Okay. 4,300 lumens, just put up an all white screensaver. Woo, look how bright that comes up. So 43. So that white light pushing around the environment. Look at my ceiling. That's how much white light pushes off a white screen. It can't absorb light, it only reflects light. That's why if you have a white screen in your home theater setup, and your theater setup is supposed to be dark, 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 dark. So that white light pushing against my screen here, pushing against the ceiling, yeah, you're lighting your area up. That screen, only thing you're supposed to see in your movie theater setting is the screen only. That's it. You're not supposed to see any excess light anywhere. All supposed to be absorbed into that screen. Now, Black Diamond did a demonstration on that. Screen Innovation did a demonstration on that. They showed the screen, and they showed the white screen coming up. You saw the light pushing all around the area, and then when that darker screen came up, all that light just absorbed. All this was nice and dark. Whew, man, I'm in the face with it. In the face. Yeah. And you know what does that? You know what does that? Like gray screens. Like gray screens push off a lot of light. There we go. Let me see what else we got here. We'll take DMP Supernova. This right here. Alright, so we got DMP Supernova and we got the Parallax by Daylight screens. Man, you have no idea what it's like walking up against the screen. Like, it's so blinding. So like looking at the headlights of a truck. Because the light's actually hitting the screen that's reflecting back in my face. I told you. Like I said, you know what? I'm not trying to open up old wounds and all, but like I said, when people spread campaigns that only black screens actually produce a dark image and all screens produce white images equal to white screens, no, not possible. Virtually impossible. Any screen that's slightly darker than a white screen, it's going to pull up that white level, and the white levels will start to drop. The contrast levels become higher. All right, let's take the Cinema Gray. This is a real light screen. Ooh, man, I hate walking from these things. Now, see what I'm talking about? This is 43. The projector I'm trying to get right now is 6,000. It's 6,500 lumens. You have any idea what this thing would look like? It reflects off a white surface? Good God, I don't even want to think about that one. Let's get blinded. Let's get blinded. You will get blinded. Yes, you will. I think I've only had 2 projectors. The 43, basically, it's caught me a couple of times. And the reason why, in here, like I said, this is not a theater room. This is my lounge area. I used to have a 52 here. I had a 43, and I had a 4,000 here, set here. And even if I put the projector here, which I can't because I got this one here, and I'm definitely not drilling any holes in my ceiling to put in a projection screen, a projector for an area that's not a home theater setup. It's a lounge area. Now, this, on the other hand, is a different story, but I'm still not going to, no, it's my screen up there, I'm not doing that. But anyway, so every time when I was sleeping here, every time I would get up, bam, I'd get in the face with 53 or 5,200 lumens. Every time I went to get up or I went to sit down, that projector was constantly hitting me in the face. But having an ultra short though projector, that means I can set my projector here, sit here, enjoy my screen, walk back and forth here, and here, and I don't have this projector constantly smacking me and hitting me in the face. Oh, you see how much light's pushing off of that screen? Look at that. Look at all that light. It's coming off that white screen. 43. So that's why I said ultra short though projectors. And where this is set at, it's just in my lounge area. This is where I come in and I sit down or entertain guests when that finally happens one day. And it's not made to be dark. See how my window light that comes in and everything? It's made to sit down where people can read books and whatever. It's a lounge area. It's not meant to be dark. So that's why I said when people have ultra short though setups, your environment should not look like a cave. God, look how much light's reflecting off this. Oh, if I'm blessed to get the 6,500 lumens, I think I'm gonna do it one time in here. It'll probably light this entire place up right here. Like, wow, I didn't even know you had freaking corners like that. Look how bright that is. So this is what happens when people get white screens, and the first thing they feel that, well, maybe my colors aren't coming up so well because maybe my lumen count may be too low, and maybe if I get a much more higher projector, it'll be able to give me better color. Ooh, it's crazy. All right, let's go over here. We got the Gray Cinema 5D. Let's put that up there right there. Man. You ever had somebody take a mirror, and of course we probably all been through this, take a mirror and reflect it off the sun and it bounce in your face? That's what it feels like being up next to that screen. There you go. See, all screens do that. If I get a customer or somebody sends me an email and says, well, you know, I want a white screen. I want the screen to have white levels, like a white screen. Some people that are coming off a white screen. And I explain to them, look, anytime you come off a white screen, any screen you choose, the contrast level, white levels are going to drop if the screen's darker. Now, some customers, and I will never understand, that's not saying all, but some customers want the white levels and they want the contrast at the same time. They want to have the white levels, they want to have the contrast all at the same time. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's one or the other. The thing is the fact that you got to find out is you need a perfect balance in there, which means you need a perfect balance of white levels and contrast levels. The white levels have to be high enough where the picture quality is not going to suffer, the image is not going to become dirty and become too dark, and the contrast level has to be high enough where it's going to look, whoops, he's falling off, has to be high enough where you're basically getting a somewhat close to black color, as close as possible. Like I said, dark silvers can mimic black levels next to black screens. Or a true black contrast level. That's what you're going to have to need to get. But it has to be one or the other. And then all this is going to have to work with the lights on and just about any projector you can throw at it. Where some of these screens are not compatible, I'll short those and some will be. So, and on top of that, most importantly, it doesn't basically break a hole in your bank. You know what I mean? You want some money left over for other things, you know what I mean? We might want to get a hot dog cart or cotton candy machine or, you know, a hot dog roller, which is my next purchase. I'm buying me a hot dog roller. All right, so now we're looking at the bright colors on here. Not the bright colors, so white levels. As you can see, that's what you're going to get. So keep in mind, if you're coming off a white screen and if you're going over to our darker technology, the white levels are going to be a tad low, but you're still going to be able to see the image, and white levels are going to be just as white. When people contact me and say, well, I want it to be the same as a white screen, it does not work that way. It's one or the other. Some will give you less, some will give you more. If the white levels are too high, as I said before, you'll see it. That's why when I do a demonstration and I show the white levels first, I go, ooh, that's not good. That means automatically, see that reflection popping back and forth? That's coming from this. I told you, reflective surface. These are the dark star 9s. Reflective surface. I can tell that from the door, it's not a good sign. All right, so we got these set up here, dark star 9. All right. 4,300 lumens on the screen. Not that far from the screen. Let's start doing the color change out. Let's put our lights on too. As I told you before, when it comes to a white screen, does it make a difference? A white screen, lights on or lights off, when it comes to the white levels will always remain the same. Same thing as in the contrast screens too also. All right, let's back it up a little bit here. So let's go pull up our colors. Let's start with red. The color red. Now, which screen's going to pull up the best red? Now, from what I'm seeing already from here, it's kind of hard to pick this one out. Let's get a little closer to it. Oh, it's coming down again. Hold on. Let me go get him. All right, just need you to step there for just a little bit. That's all I need you to do. There we go. Now, let's go again. So I got my remote control me, which one pulls out the better red. Now, keep in mind, the red is supposed to be much deeper than this. It's supposed to be a deep, deep red. The white screen, like I said, those of you who have white screens, if you do happen to buy a projector that has 43 or 3,000 lumens, much higher than the 15, just because you up your lumen count doesn't mean your colors are going to come out any better. You're just basically just adding more white light to your screen, which is actually washing out your screen. It's like taking black paint and pouring a whole bunch of white paint into it. The more you put into it, the more the contrast level starts to drop dramatically. So that's pretty much what you're doing to your screen. You're diminishing your contrast levels because the lumen count from the projector and the screen can't produce contrast at all. Okay, let's take lights out too. So now you see the color has improved because the lights are out. Now you're getting better reds. Just give you something to think about there. The color blue. So let's bring the color blue. And which one of these screens is going to pull up a proper blue? It's on. And like I said, it's still, even though, like I said, you're still going to suffer the narrow viewing cone. Even if your projector is 43. You can already see it starting already. There you go. Now, say if you have this in your lounge, right? Well, you wouldn't have this in your lounge because, like I said, you're just using a long throw. Use a long throw, and then that's in your proper using. If you have this in your sports bar, or someplace you may have this in your, if you have it in your theater room, all the seats are going to be this way anyway, so no one's really going to be sitting on the side if you have this in your theater room, all right? But if you have this in like kind of like I don't know who would use a long throw anymore in a living room setting. To tell you the truth, I mean, I guess people still use them, but I use ultra short throws now, and all my settings that are set up for basically for like a living room kind of lounge setting, I have all ultra short throws in there because it's just more convenient for me. But well, I'll just say if you're using a long throw in a living room setting, the bottom line is that if you're watching the game and you're standing right here watching the game, that's pretty much what you're going to see from standing right here. So let's move it over to where you may be sitting here, to where you may be there, and then let's get right in the middle of the screen, which we have to move up a little farther. See that little bar right there? Right there? It's going to start to disappear the farther we bring it over. There we go. Okay, let's go over this blue. Oh, it is blue. Yeah, that's bad. Because I couldn't tell that was blue. Let me see. That color really washes up really bad. All right, let's go over to, let's see, the color gray.
Getting that from YouTube.
That's, if you can see with the color gray I just pulled up, I'll show you. That's the color gray I pulled up. See, told you. Next to white level, like no gray screen or any screen darker than white is going to pull up at 100% bone white level. Impossible. That's virtually impossible. All right, let's go to, let's see. Let's go to color. See, we did red. We did green already. Did we do green already? No, we did green. We did green. Green screensaver.
Getting that from YouTube.
So that's green. I'll tell you, they always do well with green. They do. Do well with green. Don't know why, but they do. Let's go with, let's see, we did green, we did blue, we did red. Orange screensaver.
Getting that from YouTube.
You must really love orange to have an orange screensaver. Yeah. All right, so let's see how it performs on, let's do Sony 4K demonstrations.
Getting that from YouTube.
All right, so we'll go off with some colors first. That background's supposed to be in jet black. Let's see which ones pull up the better reds. So any one of these screens are going to perform better than the white screen. Hands down, no problem. Like I said, you can go to Home Depot and get some great primer, throw that against a white screen, it's going to perform better. Put you back up there. Look, to show you, I'm not joking here when I say that. That literally anything, white sheet of paper. Get my hands up here. There we go. White sheet of paper. You can't even see it. If that little tap was there, you wouldn't be able to see if it was there or not. So next time you see a screen that says, oh, but it has a 1.0 or a 2.0, and the game quality, we've seen these already on Amazon or eBay. They'll show a white screen off, they'll show these beautiful pictures behind it, beautiful pictures on it. They'll show the whole family scenery, the colors look bright and vivid and awesome, and this is pretty much what you're getting. That's a white piece of paper laying against a white screen. And mind, this is not any white screen. This is an elite white screen. They all react the same way. Doesn't make a difference if it's elite or DMP Supernova or whatever company may be. If it's generic, if it's expensive, name brand, whatever it is, they all react the same way. Now, price tag, when we get here, we have $3,000. We have $1,400. We have, what's this one right here? This is the Cinema Gray 5G. Hold on for a minute. Oh, that's the Cinema Gray. Cinema Gray is around $700 to $800. $5,000. Well, actually, $3,000. Sorry about that. Darkstar 9, $3,000. Cinema Gray 3D. Whew, look at the white screen. Yeah, get blinded. That would cost you around $1,300 to $1,400. Probably a little cheaper than that now. Cinema Gray around between $700 and $800. And then you have the Paxel or Parallax, if I'm saying that correctly, if I don't, to apologize. That one right there would cost you around 5 grand. That's a newer screen. And then we have a DMP Supernova on the far end, about 4 to 5 grand. And that's just for 100-inch people. That's it. And the white screen, well, man, you can pretty much buy white screens anywhere for cheap. But it's just to show you, even if you have a white screen and you have a high-powered projector, your screen's still going to wash out and fade. So let's go with the, and this is all about contrast. I showed you the colors, now we're going to the contrast. So the thing about these screens is they test their screens against white screens. What I got to do is I got to come in here, give me a screen, paint it gray, and then basically take this screen. Oh, we did that already. Did that with the, I forgot, we did that one already. We did that with the black silvers. The black silver, we do demonstrations all the time. We take all these screens, we throw them against the black silver, and we show which screen produces the better contrast levels. We did it already. I'll put that link below so you can see that for yourself. Black silvers already did it already. $4,300 lumens. What happens if we bring up the LG Jazz demonstration versus the white screen? LG Betafish.
Getting that from YouTube.
See how fast the color fades? Because LG, any OLED demonstrations, the backgrounds are jet black to make the colors pop. All right. So, you automatically know from the door that none of this is going to actually show up at all periods. I did these demonstrations already. Here, and here, and let's see. I don't know why I'm moving them, doesn't make a difference. Let's take Starfield demonstration. Knew that was coming down. I'm gonna leave this right here for right now because I'm gonna put this against the other screen.
Fudge brownie M&Ms are really fudgy.
Starfield demonstration.
Getting that from YouTube.
Make sure it's tagged. I don't want this thing killing me like it did the last time. Do the last time. 5,300 lumens. on the black technology. That's 53. Now mind, the projector I'm using behind me only has a contrast rating of only 3,000 to 1 contrast. That's all it has. The color red.
Getting that from YouTube.
There you go. That's what red's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be red. Deep, rich, red. Because that's what OLEDs figured out when they were developing their technology. That the darker the color, the higher the color would pop. And now everything is embedded with that OLED technology. You won't find a screen out there or high-end screen that doesn't have LG's signature technology OLED embedded into it. That's why we started working on blacker and darker technologies. What Screen Innovation figured out. Screen Innovation doesn't make a white screen. All their screens are dark. It's the reason why. Even daylight screens, when they started off, their screens were never as dark as the parallax, what do they call the screen? This screen, they were never that dark. Their screens were signature or white and gray. Every form of technology is leaning into darker technology. Look at Seymour AV. Seymour AV for the longest time had the Seymour AV 1.3. They just started coming out with a matinee black. They got a matinee black 0.9 right now. Because, and I tell people, when you buy a white screen, if you have a 1080p or 4K projector, 1080p and 4K projectors were not designed for white screens. They were designed for dark gray screens. Not more black screen technology wasn't around that time, but mainly for dark gray screens. They were designed for. The color blue.
Getting that from YouTube.
See? This is off. That's for, like I said, those of you who have white screens. And I know, like I said, when you go to, and there's not it's not a selection. There really isn't a selection. The minute you go to Amazon and you go to buy yourself a screen, you buy yourself a nice projector, you go to Amazon, it is flooded with white screens. I don't know why they so sell them. I don't know why. I don't even know what the purpose of them anymore. Keep in mind, like I said, projectors have advanced a long way. They have. And I mean, if you're as old as I am, you remember in class, when I was in class, I remember when the teacher would come out and they would bring the AV kids would come in. I don't know what you would call them AV kids back then, but when I was coming up, it was reel to reel. I lie to you not. It was reel to reel. They bring out an old reel player and they pop up in these old films and they would feed them in. You hear the, it's like a cat screaming on the screen. And you see the lines breaking up and the popping in the background. Yeah, that's how it was for me when I was coming up. So I got a chance to watch all this stuff come into play. Got a chance to see the 8-track player and all that stuff. Everything. The CD, my first CD was Public Enemy. Went downtown and bought myself a nice little rack system. Remember the rack systems back in the day? They used to have the receiver and you had the equalizer and the tape player. This is way before CD came out. You had a bunch of wires back there like an octopus went crazy in the back of your rack system. Yeah. And when I remember the first time I heard optical audio, you know, I was watching, oh man, it was an Apache Now. It's one of them. You could hear the guy when he stepped in the grass. You can hear the grass crunch under his boot, you know. So I was blessed to be able to see a lot of that stuff come into play. But I remember when last time I saw a projector, they were CRTs. They were huge. They were the size of freaking ottomans. They had this great big blue and red and green lens in it, and they had BMC and VGAs on the back of them. Yeah, that's the last time I saw them. Ronco, I think Sharp, and I remember, I think it was Magnavox. I think they had one way back, you know? And then you had the slideshows. You don't know what a nightmare is until your neighbors come back on a trip with a slideshow box. And they sit there, turn out all the lights, and they bring up this big, huge disc. They put in all these little tiny little clips like a Viewmaster in those slideshows. And there's no sound to these things. The people narrate the sound. They are the sound. And you got to hear hours and hours of their trip. Now, for the adults, they enjoyed it. For the kids, it was just downright torture. Depending if they went to Disney World, someplace fun that you actually went to see that you never saw before. Yeah, I remember all that stuff, man. Coming up. Now projectors today, look at them. Got built-in smart technology in them. You can watch your YouTube and Netflix and do all kinds of crazy things on there, just equal to TVs. Get them in 4K, get them in 3D, get them whatever, surround sound, Bluetooth, whatever you want. The technology is there. The screens just haven't caught up. That's the problem. Screens haven't caught up yet. Why in the world would you still be manufacturing and selling a white screen? Shoot, white screens have been out since the silent era. That's how old white screens are. They have been out since the silent era. So why are you still selling something that people? That's why people say, well, I don't want a 720p projector because the picture quality is going to be horrible. No, a 720p projector, there's nothing wrong with that. Screen hasn't caught up yet. That's the problem. That is the problem, people. The screen hasn't caught up. Woo, 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 woo. Scrap my screen. I hate that today. That's all. Technology's there. Screens haven't caught up yet. And then you got these companies that are going out and they're getting you to saying, look, if you want to optimize your picture quality, you got to buy this projector and you got to buy that projector, because they know darn well that the screens are not going to work well in ambient light environments. So they tell you have to use this in an ambient light controlled environment. They know darn well that the projector you may have at home might not meet the requirements to get the maximum viewing pleasure. So you have to buy this particular projector. Yeah. They're telling you what you need to buy because their screen's lacking in it. If not, they could do 720p setups and they would never have that problem. Just because, not some people saying, well, they're old projectors. Man, just because you can afford an expensive projector, does that mean everybody has to pay for an expensive projector? No, it shouldn't be that way. Should never be that way. Everybody should be able to use what they like. Sorry to say, we can't use it with knockoff projectors because, like I said, the gripe I have with those projectors is that, you know, if a knockoff projector came out and said what it was, like, hey, look, this is what it is, this is what you're actually getting, and they called it a budget projector, that right there I can support, I can stand behind, you know? Okay, at least they're being honest, at least they're being upfront. But if you're telling somebody they're going to be getting a 4K 10,000 lumen projector and it's only going to cost them $30, whew, red flag there, something's wrong there. All right, so we have this now on the black screen. Let's expand this out, boom, boom, expand this out. All right, bring it down some, over here. We're just going to put the sample sheets against it, why wouldn't we? Maybe missing all the fun. We don't do that. There we go. Boom, shakalaka. All right. We'll get here's here. Darkstar 9. All right. Hopefully this sticks to my screen. Daylight screen, parallax. Okay. We'll go with the DMP Supernova. Just in case you can see, that is a DMP Supernova right there. DMP Supernova. There, put that right there. Are we even Steven on this? All right, we are even Steven on this. Let's go with the Cinema Gray 5D. Right there. We've been selling a lot of gallons of the Luminous. No, Luminous. I'm trying to pronounce my own stuff. So Luminous is around $357 for a quart of that. No, sorry, quart. Wow. Sorry about that, people. Take it back. For a gallon of that technology. That will paint a screen size up to 190 inches. Your choice if you want to do this in 235.1, 16:9, 16:10. And if you ever had the Liberty, they actually make also too, usually NEC projectors have this option. They make a 15:9 if you ever saw one. NECs usually have those in there. Whew. Now, the cheapest screen we have on here, like I said, on this side is $800. What our gallon size at 357 will paint a screen size of 190 inches, and the screen can be front and rear, ultra short throw compatible. And if you want, you can take it outside. You can't take any of these outside. We have to buy special. I had to buy special surfaces for these for outside demonstrations this summer, and they're going to be being hit with a 6,500 lumen projector outside. All right, let me see. Let's go with the color red.
Getting that from YouTube.
Now, these screens are all going to produce much higher white lows or short, of course, as they should. Let's go with let's go with the next color, white screensaver.
Getting that from YouTube.
Something I never shy away when it comes to my black screens. All right, there's the white screensaver right there. You take all of that in. Now, usually most people think because our black screens produce a lower white level, they think that these other screens are going to be to produce higher colors. No, that's not going to work too well. All right, let's go with the color green, screensaver.
Getting that from YouTube.
Let's go to here. There we go. We got one screen. There we go. Right in there. Okay. The color gray, screensaver.
Getting that from YouTube.
Just not someone this day. No. I'll just be sticky for you sooner or later. I'll just have you stand there. Right. Stay. Please. Thank you. All right, there's gray. Dark gray. All right. Black contrast screensavers.
Getting that from YouTube.
Now this demonstration remains black while the fish remains gold. Olay beta fish.
Getting that from YouTube.
I want a beta fish so bad. I gotta go through for exactly. I know I gotta get a tank that has a separate because they can't be together. They'll kill each other. That I do know. Like I said, anytime you do OLED demonstrations, those backgrounds have to be jet black. I can't wait to do my green screen demonstration today. Green screen is going to be launching next week. That's for the exotic collection. Sony's 4K demonstrations.
Getting that from YouTube.
Now when I get done from here, I have to go over to I gotta go over to blah 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 blah. I'm gonna do this real quick. I have to go over to a couple of companies and I have to start buying up their outdoor projection screens to start getting ready for the summer. And I know it's January, but weather over here has been a bit warm, so I'm already starting the blueprint on constructing my 500-inch screen in the backyard. And that's the reason why I need the monster, the projector, because none of these projectors are going to hit 500 inches. Not going to happen. So I'm going to have that particular projector to do it. That projector is ultra short throw, which means what I've already seen on Projector Central, I literally only have to be 6 feet away to hit 500 inches on that screen, on that projector. That's going to be insane. If I can get up to a 500 inch, I'm trying to measure, see how far I have to go up to get it. Chances are, it's probably, I don't want to go and past my deck. I want to go right on the trim of the deck, so I have to measure all that. And I'm definitely going to get a 235.1. Oh, by the way, that projector does 1.7 something, 14, something weird. It does a strange panorama setup. Oh, I can't wait to see that. And like I said, praying to my Lord. I know if I'm allowed to have it, I can have it. Like I said, I already got the money saved aside. I told you I was saving money up for a particular high-powered projector that I'm going to need for the backyard. I thought the one downstairs was going to do it this year, but like I said, it had some complications with it. It's going to cost me a bit to get it fixed, nowhere to price this thing, but I need this thing for work. So it isn't like I'm going to buy me a $9,000 projector, that caliber, 6,000 or 6,500 lumens, and stick it in my living room. What for? And it's short throw, it'll fit right up against the screen, no problem. What for? It's overkill. It's way too much. And it pretty much makes me a hypocrite. Because I can't tell you, like, hey, look, this is the reason why the screen looks amazing, because I'm using a $9,000 projector. See what I'm getting at here? It's better if I'm saying, look how amazing the picture looks, and I'm using a projector that cost me $59 or 230 bucks. That's the most expensive. Was that the most expensive projector? Yeah, it might be. It might be the most expensive projector. It could be. It might be. That one I had to get. If I didn't get the 235.1, I literally would have went out and got myself a much cheaper projector. That projector right there cost me around $500 something, $34. It's a 720p, but I needed it for the 235.1 setup I have over here. Whew. Do you have any idea how many projectors I could have bought for that kind of money? I bought 4 ultra short throws in here, and it didn't even cost me anywhere. Let me see, yeah, around almost $500 for 4 ultra short throws. So I got some for a pretty cheap price. Let's see, what did I ask for in here? Then I'm sitting here. I went through, we did the LG, whatever. We did the LG already. I'm good on that one. Butterfly, relaxing.
To listen to Spotify.
Oh,
Enable
great.
the skill.
Butterfly, relaxing video.
Getting that from YouTube.
I have to fight this thing so much. Yeah. As I told you before, that the white levels are a tad low, but nothing is going to disrupt your picture quality. You go, oh my God, I can't even see the screen. No, it's not going to happen. All right, so I'm going to have to paint. Well, actually, I got to go on Amazon and I have to track down. I saw a projection screen. It doesn't have a frame attachment, just so you know. Doesn't have a frame to it. What somebody did was they took a grommet screen, and I don't know what kind of material it is, but it's pretty stretchable. So they took a grommet screen and they put a rod system through it. So if you ever built one of these screens before, any of these fixed frame screens, they have something called a tension rod system. And in the back of the screen, you actually feed a rod through the screen itself, and that actually clicks behind the back of a rail or spring system that's connected to the frame that causes the screen to expand out. Somebody came up with a pretty cool idea where they took a not the same material, it's like a kind of a fabric material, but they ran a rod system through it, and the rod system actually expands the screen out. So it's a pretty interesting idea, because with these you have a frame attached to them and they're aluminum, and even though they're aluminum, they're pretty lightweight. I can lift that screen by myself. To move it from A to B, if you're transferring it upstairs or you're taking it outside or whatever you're doing with it, it can become a bit hectic. So the person came with the idea. I'm looking at what he has on there. I'm going to buy a few of them, have them over here, paint them. And if this thing works out, I'll show you the link. And then you could just put this thing together and just hang it up on your wall, paint it, be done with it, which would be fantastic. Or take it apart, collapse it, take it outside. So I'm going to be grabbing probably 2 of them, and I'm going to be painting them up and setting them up in here, which would be fantastic for me because they're cheaper than styrofoam. Styrofoam just costs a little bit more money now. And on top of that, it's lightweight. I can collapse the frame, take the rods, they come with a little bag you can put them in, and I can move them around the house, which will be nice. I just wish when they come up with these ideas, please keep in mind of the 235.1, because I would love to be able to have a collapsible screen, a collapsed screen of a 235.1. You know how much fun that would be? You can set that thing up anywhere. Now, I know gaming is not all that hot unless you have a PC. If you're PC gaming, majority, you get a chance to go in and manipulate your settings and your graphic card. You could change sometimes your settings to 235 or widescreen spectrum. But if you ever do racing games, 235 in racing is like no other. It really is, especially if it's curved a little bit. But if it's not curved and it's like this, it's like no other. It really isn't, especially if you're doing cockpit racing. It is freaking amazing on a 235.1 setup. Which that reminds me, I gotta buy me another computer to put down here. Never mind, forget it. I'll just build me a simulator. That's just too much work to bring it down here. I'm gonna build me a simulator. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I love racing simulators. I just never built one for myself. And I should too. Just gotta find me a spot in the house. So I thought about it. The arcade room, now it's just already come to mind, but the arcade room would have been perfect to just turn it into one big, huge racing simulator. But I got the arcade room in there now. I don't have any room upstairs in the Tron room because there's LED lights everywhere up there. I don't want to take anything off the floor. I do have the entire attic to myself, but like I said, attic freaks me out. Freaks me out, man. Like me in the attic. You know what I should do? I should build me an outside racing simulator. And that's not a bad idea because I still, under my deck, I got a ton of room under my deck. I don't even use it. I can build me a simulator that I can take apart. like take apart in big sections, disconnected, because I don't want it out there in the weather. You know what I mean? In the summertime, that would be beautiful. I had to build it, which means, yeah, I could actually literally do that. I could build me a simulator outside, something I can detach, take apart, set up and put it in the basement. I can run the entire thing off Wi-Fi. Oh, heck yeah, that's a good idea right there. I can run the entire thing off Wi-Fi. The gaming system. As a matter of fact, I can take some of that the limited rear technology and just do me a black screen and put the projector on the opposite side because it's rear projection technology. Nothing's gonna punch through that thing. Oh yeah, that's what I need to do. Oh yes, I'm doing that. I'm definitely doing it. I'm doing the outside simulator. Oh shoot. Sorry, wrong choice of time to basically bail out that one. You're showing the birdie, the parrot. Ah.
Mr. Blanks, there's no need to be stressed. Skype makes it easy to file a claim online or over the phone. That makes you want to celebrate with some fireworks. 5, 6, 7, go.
Boom, 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 boom. This is funny, dude. Let's go back and look at the bird. We got the parrots. There we go. Like I said, white levels are not going to be as high as when it comes to gray screens and so forth, but as you can see, it's not going to be something where the image is going to come up so dark that you can't even see the screen. All right, so now I get to play around and have a little fun. Usually, I never get a chance to do too much. Well, yeah, I do a lot. Who am I kidding? There you go. Okay. Do a couple here, and after that, I'm gonna go grab me something to eat. Feeding time to eat. Just like I have the TV. See the advancements of black technology. I love it. That's why I tell people, the 17s are incredible screens, but the 12 is nothing to laugh over and nothing to basically snub your nose up off. 12 is incredible technology also. The 17 is more of a high professional kit, and that's what they are, because it's a spray-on application only. But if you don't need a rear projection screen, and you don't want to be work with a paint sprayer, then go with the 12s. Yeah, 12's got a lot of, not say a lot, a few people tried to bring a 12 down. You know why? Because the 12 is extremely good screen. That screen has coding technology embedded in it. Not 100%, but it has enough of it to be able to flex like this. And that's why when people saw the 12s, they became highly threatened by it to try to bring it down. Can't bring down 12s. 12s are, that's why a lot of people were threatened by it. That's why a lot of people did a lot of fake demonstrations on 12s, because they were threatened by them.
I love Martin's produce because it's so fresh.
It makes us feel good to watch our kids.
The 17 sells extremely good, but the 12 is our highest selling screen paint. Now, I'm gonna pause this right there. I'm gonna take this out real quick. I do projector swaps all the time. In any demonstration, you'll see me do a projector swap all the time. Because you know why? I cover all the bases. I don't give anybody a chance to come and say, well, you know this, and well, you know that. Because what I'll hear is, Well, that's a 4,300 lumen projector. Of course the screen is going to come up. Yeah, I know what you're thinking before you think it. That's why I do all these crazy demonstrations. That's why when I did the demonstration on the green technology, all demonstrations done in one day on that technology, I sat there and said, oh man, I got to go back. I got to do the Starfield demonstration. I forgot to do it. Had to go back and pull the projector back 20 feet to the Starfield demonstration. So we're going to take this baby out. It's 43, because like, yeah, Ken, that's a 4,300 lumen Chrissy projector. Of course you're bringing up them white levels that high. It's not here. It's 4,300 lumens. That's more powerful than my projector. I'll bring something else to relate to. That's what I'll do. Let's go back and let's bring something out that we can all relate to. Pretty sure we can, right? Let's grab. I love playing with this projector. All right. So yes, doesn't really prove anything. It's a 4,300 lumen projector. That's a lot of power for a projector, right? I agree with you on that 100%. Let's put this thing over in the corner because you don't need this. That's way too much power to be using to begin with. I'm going to be proving a point here. We're going to do this. We got to do this right. You agree? I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Gotta do this right. So, I don't even know why I said to stand that way. Whew. Let's see. From here to here, from there to there is around 11 feet. I just put it in the kitchen, that's all. There we go. So we got it sitting up in the kitchen. We got 1,000 lumen projector, 720p, 600 by 800 res. That's what we're using right now. We then swapped out for 4,300 lumens, 1920 by 1200 full 1080p projector to a projector that's 720p. How could I be signed out if I was never signed in? I don't even have an account on here. But okay. Alrighty. Oh, it's a commercial coming up. Oh no, it came in dim like that because when I go back and I rewind, the screen goes dim. I just put it right back in. There you go. This projector has no contrast at all. None. I told you people were threatened by 12s. They're threatened by it. It's like the 8s. They were threatened by the 8s too. Heard you, when God gives you an idea, God gives you a blessing, no one can take it from you. There may be people that will hate on it, try to destroy it and degrade it, but at the end of the day, no one can take it from you. And time again will show you this is God's work. That's why it will continue to sell, no matter what. Now, you let me know what big companies are going to do their whole entire setup, put in rehearsal, put in the lights, set the whole thing up, bring out the high power projector, calibrate it to the screen, and then start their demonstration. And in the middle of the demonstration, say, you know what? We're going to swap this out for a 720p, 600 by 800 res, 1000 lumen projector. Ain't gonna happen. Oh, I like that right there. I need that. Which one is this? New York City Skyline Screensaver. All right, because I use this screen for displays. That's why I'm going to have it later on tonight set up for that. Let's check this one out. Sorry about that. Now remember, anytime you see me take a white sheet of paper and stick it across the screen, that's equivalent to a white projection screen. That's when I sit there and I put white sheets of paper on a screen and people say, well, that's not the same as a white screen. Oh, yes, it is. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. We're going to do a whole segment. We're going to do white screen. I'm going to find every kind of white surface I can get my hands on. And we're going to do it all on white screens and show you exactly how close these things come to looking like just about everything else. You can just go get a white bed sheet if you're going to go down that road. If you're literally going to go down that road of basically getting a white screen, just go buy a bed sheet. And this projector behind me has no contrast at all. None. Here's the white screensaver. Now, just because I have 1,000 lumens doesn't mean we have 1,000 lumens by the time we make it to the screen. Let me see if I can pull up my new. I cannot. Yes, I can. I can pull it up. Yeah, because mine these projectors only do 4.3. It's a projector with no contrast. And like I said, fully lit environment. You see how much light make contact with the screen. With these lights, they don't have any shade over top of them at all, period. Let's go to, oh, my count's not there anyway, let's go to clear. Let's go to now, some people may think the reason why his white levels are extremely good on his black screens is because his projectors are high powered. Well, they keep forgetting I own over 40 projectors, and my projectors are not even next year models. They're old projectors. I got projectors ranging from 2,500 lumens, 1,000 lumens, 800 lumens, 900 lumens. Got just about everything on there. I've done all the unboxings. So I don't need to have 4,300 lumens, 5,000 lumens, or 3,000 lumens, not even 2,000 lumens to be able to produce a bright, beautiful image on that black screen. So that debunks that theory. Let's go over and let's grab contrast demonstration. I can take this same demonstration you're watching right now. The ceiling is coated in 12 technology. Thousand lumens. This is where my hand is at with the projector, right down here by my hip. And I can sit this right in the middle of my ceiling light. And you can see that image all the way around, not fade or wash out. See how that technology works? Anything I transferred over to, they use this technology. Let me know how many times you've seen somebody do a demonstration like this. Anywhere I put it at on that ceiling. From one end to the next. Not easy work. Tell you, God gives you an idea. It's meant for you. No one can take it from you. See, you have to know how to be able to get white light to come from a black screen. That's the hard part. And that's why I said this stuff has coding technology embedded into it that allows us to be able to do so. we go. The color red. This right here, this rattles people. How I can do this back and forth and that screen won't fade or wash out. But this technology, like I said, we test our ambient light rejection outside. This is an outside light. On a cloudy day, there is more ambient light outside than there is in your home well lit. Do know that you can charge a solar panel outside on a cloudy day. Might not be as fast as having the sun physically out, but you can still charge it. Yes, sirree. We had any one of these professional screens. Trying to pull up a red next to a 12 or a 17, they can't do it. That right there is a Dark Star 9. Over there, right there, is a Cinema Gray. Parallax right there. They're not screens, it's parallax or parallax. Excuse me if I said wrong. Gray Cinema 5D. There you go. This is how our technology is tested. This is why when you watch demonstrations, as I said before, on other screen paint products, on other projection screens, they don't do any demonstrations like this. You will never see a demonstration done like this. They don't have enough confidence in their product. Their testings are not done. This is how I feel. You may not have that feel, but this is how I feel. Their testings are not brutal enough. Because if their testings were brutal enough and more stricter, they could do a demonstration like that. Just watch me take a projector and throw it up on the ceiling. Throw it on any screen that has our black technology, and that screen pulled from every direction with no problem whatsoever. Right in the middle of my ceiling. Didn't wash out, didn't fade, nothing. Certified projection screens against the screen. Even using 1,000 lumen projector swap out. Went from 1,500, we went from 43, went to 1,000 lumens. Color blue. Let me see. Let me go back and get some other stuff I might want to watch real quick. All right, let's do football highlights. Told you, if this projector behind me had a 16:9 on it, I would have kept my 16:9 screen. I'd have kept this projector. This is a nice little projector to have. Only problem, it only does 4.3, so, you know. I'm not really going to watch in 4.3, to tell you the truth, honestly. Let's see. Let's see what happens if we watch football on a, this is college football. I love college football, but okay, I guess I'll take this right here instead. Yeah, I'd use this projector right here. If you notice, my environment's not dark. Like I said, when I see people trying to do demonstrations with this particular projector, the environment's dark. I can throw this thing on the ceiling if I wanted to. If I want, I can take this thing and throw it right up on my ceiling and watch the game. And I will. Just for fun. There you go. Right in the middle of the light. Still produces a nice bright image all the way around. Let's bring it down even closer. Let's bring it all the way down to our knees. Get down to our knees and bring it down. So that way you don't think that I got to push high up on the ceiling. So you can see where I'm at right here. Even the blue technology can pull it up with no problem. And that's sitting in window light. Usually, people get bothered by it when I do demonstrations like that. Now, in your mind, you might consider it to be showing off. It's not showing off. It's showing how the technology is supposed to be. This is how you should be seeing demonstrations, honestly. This is how you should be seeing them. What's the point of you going out and spending money for a projector if your screen can't work properly with the projector? What's the point? Can you relate to this? I'm pretty sure you can relate to that projector. I can take my trash out, but I'm pretty sure you can relate to that projector. That's a 720p 600 by 800 res SVGA projector. Costs you $75, maybe $65 on eBay. It's not 1080p. It's not 4K. It's not 12,000 lumens, 1,300 lumens. It's not 1,500 lumens. It's not 1,800 lumens. No 2,000 lumens. No 43. None of that. No 5,000 lumens. A little bit more. Let's see how big we can get the screen. We're going to hit the side of the wall a little bit here. I need more room. I don't have enough room. Oh, wait. If I put my stand this way, I should have enough room to bring it here. Yeah. This will definitely work. All right. And we'll connect it there. And then we'll bring it back some more. Because I'm going to be able to fill out the whole screen. There we are. Got to get it on the projector without killing myself. All right, so now I got to push back even farther so I can fill the whole screen out. Well, it's only 4.3, so it's only going to be to go so far back. So I had to pull it all the way back in the kitchen. There we go. Let's go to, let's see. At the end, I like using this projector. I still got to do that. Get a projector for $12. Not $12. Sorry, $50. Got to do that one next. Wait. I gotta remove all this. I gotta remove all this first. Let's clear this out. Oh, for it. Starfield demonstration. Starfield demonstration. There we go. There's your Starfield demonstration. I even have light tucking underneath here. So since this light is blocking the light from here, let's remove this out of the way. So I can have my kitchen light in here. There we go. That's better. So now we got our kitchen light coming in from the kitchen. And it shows you how much light and how far the projector sits back. That's fun. Oh, no. There's something else I gotta do. There you go. This technology, like I said, it's used to being outside. This right here is not going to bother it. So at one point, keep in mind that when I had the Sony VPL FH30 projectors in here, I still have them. But when I had them in here, one of the things that people tried to say was, oh, well, he's using my projectors. My Sony VPLs were like, they were like 52. I think they were 52. No, they were 43. They were 4,300 lumen projectors. The VPL FH36 is actually 52. So when I was using those projectors, the first thing was, well, the reason why his black screens are pulling up the image is because he's using a 4,200 lumen projector. That's got to be it. That's got to be it. Then when I came out here and I bought the 1,000 lumen projector and did the demonstration, the theory kind of flew out the window. Because right now, as you can see, in my environment, I have more light than what most people use in their demonstrations. A kitchen actually produces a lot of light. And I got to go over and I got to open up the blinds so we can add more light in the environment. So let's grab something real quick. I'm going to start getting tightened up in here. Those are some, tripped over my stuff. Those are some messages I got to get back to because I'm helping a few people out with some projects. I'm going to be helping a few people build some things. They're sending me over pictures of their setups. And I do that. My customers, if they're building a project, they need some help with it, they'll send me pictures over and say, hey, look, this is my setup. This is what I'm doing. Can you help me out with this? And I have no problem. I can track down movie curtains for you. I can even track down those velvet tassel ropes. If you want, I could find those for you too. So got a little bit of connections here and there with a few people I do business with. You know, and if there's something you're trying to build or something you're trying to put together, I can help you set it up. I can help you get the know where to buy everything at. And it's not going to cost you an arm and leg, and you're going to be to do it on the cheap. I think ever since I did the Japanese tea room upstairs, people are asking me, helping me to actually do a little decorating. So, yeah, not a problem. All right, let's go over right now. I got one person showing me off. They want designs for hooking up a gaming room, or we're going to build the ultimate. His desk is going to be insane. All right, and he wants to do the projection with the black glass. I was talking about using the projector with the stand, those particular projectors. You can put two of them under his table, and at $180 a projector, $100 a stand, he's going to come out with a nice setup. So I guess if he does, he might do role playing like a WoW or something like that, games that are designed for like that bird's eye platform, which would be fantastic for that setup. And I'm also showing them how to get. It's kind of like an interactive glass that you can use also too, but it's a long project. All right, let me see. I'll let that play. I'll be right back. After I leave from there, I get set for this and the customer can come out. At the end of the day, man, it comes down to, you know, people spend a lot of money. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but whether you spend more or less, it's an investment. It's your projector setup. And the last thing you want is not to get the most from your projector. You don't have to have an expensive projector just to get a good image. You don't. It all lays on the screen. At the end of the day, it comes down to the screen. So judging where we're at right now, I'm measuring tape. We are around 12 feet and some change away from the screen. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. You want a nice setup. You don't want to spend a lot of money. And this is where this technology comes in handy for our customers. The screen I'm actually displaying off is a silver ticket. There's a white silver ticket screen that I bought. And I just painted it over with my technology. Right in there. That's an Elite screen. That's our newer screen. It's the Edgeless. I bought 2 of those. Got one upstairs in my gaming room, sitting up there in portrait mode for gaming. And then I bought another one for right in here. And if you don't really want to spend that kind of money, you know, you can get a 180-inch screen fixed frame. I got one upstairs in the gaming room. I paid, I think, $190 for that screen. $135. Got another 100-inch, 135-inch on the deck. That's another Elite screen I paid for. That's when it used to be in here. It's out there now. So a few people were asking me about how to keep the frame and the velvet from bleeding into the screen. Now, I already went through that already before. I did a 135-inch fixed frame screen outside, and it had rained, and the rain got into the velvet, and the velvet bled into the screen. So what you want to do is you want to basically go in and take a paintbrush, and you can frog tape the inside of the screen however way you want to do it. If you're going to take it outside anyway to begin with, if you're going to do it outside aluminum fixed frame screen, this is what I would suggest you do. Put the whole screen together. Go get yourself some weatherproof polyurethane and spray the entire screen down. Frame, the back end, everything. Spray it all down. Get all that coated under protection, because when it rains out there, it's going to just run off the velvet. It's not going to bleed into your screen. Then you go out and you put your frog tape, how I said, around the frame, and you paint your screen and you're done. That's if you want to make it weatherproof. And then go out to Home Depot. Go to Amazon. Go get some weatherproof outside lights. Tape them to the back of the screen. I always say tape them, because keep in mind, even though with 3M, some of the stuff is pretty sticky, you're outside. You're going to be dealing with heat and cold. You're going to be dealing with a lot of stuff. Usually when I work with any kind of packing tape, it kind of like seals itself right to that surface. If you want to make sure it's going to stay, get yourself a heat gun, put it on very, very light settings, and just basically go right over top of it to make sure you reinforce it. So many ways you can go about designing your outdoor screens and not spend a lot of money for it. Right. Let's go in different directions. Let's just show you where we're going to be at. That screen is some cast to pull up. All right, hope we enjoyed the video demonstration. Let's take this off here real quick. I want to show you my measuring tape before I leave out of here. So there we are at around 12 feet. I know I got to clean my floor. There's some change. And this is the projector we're using. If you're curious to look it up. So Sony SVGA, well actually it's the VPL CS4. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Any projector is going to be better than that projector. way better than that projector. And that's why I said that when I do demonstrations, I like to do the swap outs because it just shows you that you don't have to have a 4,300 lumen projector. You don't have to have this or that. If you want, you can go bare minimum and still come up with a beautiful image, and you can do it in a fully lit environment. After the lights off, see, so I was supposed to react. Image, it's not supposed to change and make a difference. That's how you should, this is what you should be seeing when you watch demonstrations. I know my demonstrations are a bit long, but the reason why I do this is because you need to see all this. This is what you need to see. Not somebody come out there and go, ooh, look at the beautiful colors and blah, 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 and a half dark environment. No, you don't need to see all that. You need to see more than that. You should be demanding more than that. It is your projector, your investment. You want to get the most out of it. That's how, at the end of the day, that's what you want. All right, got to go. Thank you all for your time, and God bless.